Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Yes, it's that time of the week again. Welcome back to Football Worldwide and to another edition of European Weekly Catch-Up. Guys, another week has come and gone, and what a huge weekend it was. As always, I'm here with my special co-host, Bruno. How are you, mate?
Matt, it's fantastic. I had the pleasure and honor of being on Everything APL, so I got to vent there. I get to vent here. It's going to be amazing. But look, without further ado, let's jump in and see what's happening in today's episode. We'll be covering match day 5 of the English Premier League, as well as match day 4 of the Serie A, match day 5 of the Bundesliga and the La Liga, match day 6 review of Ligue 1. We'll do our around the grounds, ones to watch, and a couple of special announcements coming our way. So, guys, you want to keep in touch for this over-the-top episode. We've got a lot of content and very little time to get through. But first, our first league. Let's get
The English
straight.
Premier League.
Yes, the English
Straight.
Premier League. So I'll get straight into it. We have Newcastle, who shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw with Leeds United. The Wolves, well, they continued their struggle start and they lost 2-0 to a 10-man Brentford. Norwich City, 15 losses straight, and they are still on a losing streak, losing 3-1 to Watford. Burnley and Arsenal walk away with their second win of the season in a 1-0 victory. Manchester City and Southampton share the spoils in a 0-0 draw. Liverpool, Crystal Palace, and in a 3-0 win to Liverpool. Aston Villa, 3 goals in 6 minutes, defeating Everton 3-0. Brighton, there's a lot to say about that game. Follow that one up on Everything APL because you'll be quite interested. Brighton walked away as 2-1 winners in the Leicester City fixture. West Ham and Manchester United was a thriller as well in a 2-1 win to Ronaldo's Manchester United. And to wrap it up, Chelsea dominating performance against Tottenham in a 3-0 win there. But Jonathan, what a match day this was across all of England. We're going to talk 3 of the most interesting fixtures, but we could talk probably about 4, 5, 6, 7. We could probably cover all of them. It was that entertaining. So let's go straight into it. Liverpool 3, Crystal Palace 0. what Liverpool? They're the real deal.
They are. They actually look like they're getting to that form which they did a couple of years ago when they won the Premier League and then the Champions League as well. Like, what can you say? That front 3, it's got to go down as one of the most potent attacking, front thirds in all of Europe, not just in England. But mate, what do you say? Mane with scoring his 100th goal for Liverpool. That's a huge achievement. He's come leaps and bounds, and he's just performing week in and week out for them. This was a great game. But in as you mentioned on the EPL show, geez, Bruno, Crystal Palace did not do themselves any harm as well. They played quite well for this game, didn't they?
Yeah, look, definitely. Crystal Palace, they're unlucky. They're unlucky, and you got to remember this is the team that ended Tottenham's unbeaten streak last week. But credit where credit's due, and we'll get to the other top of the table team. But if you look at the table as it stands, Liverpool, they're currently in first, along with Chelsea, with 4 wins apiece. 1 draw, which was against each other. 12 goals scored, 1 against, which was against each other. Now, Chelsea sit on top because they got that away goal. Otherwise, and that I don't think it will be the decisive factor, but it just shows where Liverpool is this season. My only concern is, they're doing a strong push, and I did mention this in Everything APL. They're 1 injury away from being a title contender to struggling to compete in the Champions League next season. I don't feel they have some strong squad depth. That's something they do lack. And with the Champions League group they do have in AC Milan and Atletico as well, you got to think to yourself, they're going to be hard games. You can't sleep on the fourth pot seeded team. So it being AC Milan, and we saw the struggle that they brought. So it will be a very interesting run for Liverpool. Will they have some action in the transfer market come January? I don't know. But let's move on to Manchester United. So this was an interesting fixture. We had Manchester United who were traveling to West Ham, and you know what? It was a 2-1 victory to Manchester United. It was absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to let you talk about Manchester United. I just want to, I don't know if it's comical or what it is, but 2-1 down, you're awarded a penalty, which will most probably be the last kick of the game, and they bring on Noble, who has not missed a penalty since 2016. His penalty is taken. His only touch is the penalty shot. And it is saved by De Gea, who has not saved the penalty since 2016.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
find
that.
it comical. I find it comical that no one learnt their lesson to what happened with England in the final
In the Euro?
in the Euros, where you've brought on 3 players with cold feet. You don't do this. I'm sorry. You've had players, and West Ham played a phenomenal game, and I'm sure you'll cover that. But give the credit to it. You can't have the star of the show be a man who's had 1 touch of the ball. And you can't expect that to be, we got the point against Manchester United because of this. So, overall, what can you say? But Manchester United, if it wasn't for Ronaldo, Jonathan, where do you see them?
Oh, mate, you know what? That's a good question. You actually stumped me for a second there. This isn't it funny? Like the old saying goes, that this team in particular, this team on paper, in all seriousness, should be blitzing the competition. They should be probably, have maximum points. But what does it come down to? 1, of course, it's not always 1 on paper. And 2, who's in the driver's seat? Now, I know I say this week in and week out, and I feel like, look, I've got nothing against Ole, but to me, he's not a top tier manager. That's all it comes down to. And to me, his choices have been wrong. To me, Manchester United have only played good for 20 minutes against Leeds at the beginning of the season. Other than that, they have not been playing well, as we saw last week, against in the Champions League as well. That's a game they shouldn't have lost. Again, on the weekend, they were lucky that they got 3 points out of this, and that West Ham didn't get a draw out of this as well. Yeah. In saying that, to go back to your first point, bringing on Noble in the 94th minute, I just don't know what they're thinking. You would think that someone in the manager's box would be like, hey, I think we've done something like this similar before, for the country. So maybe this might not be a good idea. I just don't get it. How does Noble come on and his first touch is kicking that penalty? By all means, it wasn't a bad shot, but it's just not right. Yeah, it is. It's a lottery at most times, but I
think that was probably the biggest talking point. Ronaldo, well, he's scored in every match so far. He's played for Manchester United. But back to Ole. At the end of the day, you look at one of the other criticised managers within the EPL, in Arteta, the Arsenal manager. If you put him in the same position as Ole, they'd be getting the exact same results because they're the same caliber of coach. So at the end of the day, do I see him getting criticised a lot heavier? Yeah, 100%. When you've got Ronaldo on your team, the expectations are high. And that isn't from the board, that is from Ronaldo himself. So let's leave that there.
But just before we move on, one point I did want to make. Flip it on the other side. West Ham manager used to be at Manchester United, David Moyes. Doesn't this show that he was probably not given enough credit where he was needed or deserved? He didn't have the backing of what he probably, not even as much as what Ole's got at the moment. So he's proving some doubters wrong from what he had from all those years ago.
Yeah, 100%. And we will move on to the next first place team, which is Chelsea. They absolutely dominated Tottenham from start to finish. It was probably one of their most dominant performances of the season, if you take out the Liverpool draw. But overall, there isn't much to say about the fixture other than this team, can anyone stop them?
Look, the first half was pretty tight. Not too much had happened at that point as well, but mate, Thiago Silva, that goal, and also the game also changed when Kante came on
Oh,
in
yes.
the second half as well, and what a brilliant strike! And mate, he's just one of those players that everyone would want in his team. He just does it all, and yeah, no, Chelsea just another dominant performance. Well done to him.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's where we leave the EPL and we move on to the next league, the Serie A. So, Jonathan, take us away.
So starting from the top, we had Torino beat Sassuolo 1-0 to start off the match day. Second game was Fiorentina 2-1 over Genoa. Then the reigning champions Inter Milan 6-1 over Bologna. Atalanta had a 1-0 win over Salernitana. Sampdoria 3-0 over Empoli. What a great game that was. Spezia 2-1 over Venezia. Cagliari and Lazio played a 2-all draw. Verona beat Roma and brought Mourinho's team crashing back down to in the league. 3-2 they won there. Then one of the games of the match, Juventus, still without a win in the league. 1-1 draw with Milan and Napoli, showing their title credentials in my mind. 4-0 over Udinese. Bruno, what a match day. Now, I know Anthony and the team have summed up this match day pretty well in Serie A Roundtable, but just to bring up a few points, mate, I've got to start with Inter Milan, 6-1 over Bologna. Yes, it's our team, but they were never troubled, were they?
Look, I think 1-0, Handanovic pulled off an amazing save, which really changed the game. And from that point on, it was just Inter, Inter, Inter. But what is more impressive with this fixture, it's how they dominated probably 70 out of 90 minutes against Real Madrid in the Champions League, and it was an 89th, 90th minute goal which sent them crashing to getting 1 point to 0 points when they really deserved all three. So they bounced back really well. Now we've got a midweek fixture coming up, and that's against Fiorentina. So you've got this fixture congestion, which is starting to pick up. They picked up an injury to Correa. So that will be interesting. But their performance here was absolutely phenomenal. It's amazing to see Inzaghi has picked up where Conte left off. Not just in Europe, struggling there, but domestically as well. There was a couple of criticisms in the sense of, is he going to be able to carry this team in the same manner that Conte did? This isn't Lazio. This is a higher team. This is the current champions, and he's proven himself too. But Jonathan, your fan favorite, you love our defender Skriniar.
He really is one of my favorites, honestly. He has gone to a new level again this year, which in all seriousness, he's starting to get to that point. He's reminding me of prime Sergio Ramos. He is an absolute machine animal in defense, and he is scoring bullet cracker goals from a corner. Like, they are getting pumped. What's he on? 2 goals, I think, for the season already for a defender, I'm pretty sure.
We're
Mate,
only
like
4 games in.
Exactly. Only 4 games in and he's already scored 2 goals. Like, And he's just gone up to another level. I love him. In my opinion, he should be Inter Milan's next captain after Handanovic. But that's my personal opinion there. But yeah, look, just masterclass from Inter. So I think that's enough that really needs to be said about there.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going on to one of my ones to watch from last week. I had many. I know the segment's ones to watch, and I had three to watch, but this is one of the ones to watch, and it was Juventus Milan. It was a 1-1 draw, but I don't know what the talking point is here. Is it Juventus still haven't gotten a win this season? It is their worst start to a season in 66 years. They're currently in the relegation zone, which we don't expect them to stay there. But is it Milan who just failed to capitalize?
You can play this script from both ends. In all seriousness, you can say that Milan failed to capitalize, but you could also say the fact that 12 months ago, or even at the beginning of the season, I'm sure Milan would have been happy with a draw in this game. Looking at, look, by all means, an Allegri managed team should not be where they are at the moment. Juventus have a lot of problems with their midfield, with their management, just to name a couple off the top of my head. And the fact that Ronaldo left 2 days or 3 days out from the transfer deadline. So they did the best they could in trying to get a replacement, but it's very hard to put a Band-Aid over a person that scores 30 goals a season. That's going to take time. So Juventus, yes, they are not where we expected, but by all means, they're not going to stay there. As much as 2 points in 4 games, it's they're well and truly off the pace. Will they stay there? By all means, no. Will they? But in saying that, they still need some time to gel because this squad does not look great. Where I'm only going off the fact that you expect Juventus to go better, especially because of who their manager is. But in saying that, I don't know how they're going to get themselves out of this situation, to be perfectly honest, because to me, they don't have the squad of what they should. And look at the other teams at the top of the ladder at the moment. They have all leveled up probably better than what Juventus have. So they can't rest on their morals. They've got a long way to go yet. But good job for Milan for getting a point and still staying near the top. So they've performed well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we'll be definitely covering Juventus a bit more as the season continues. We'll move on into one of the upsets of the round. Verona defeated Roma 3-2. It was you mentioned it earlier. Was it a reality check for Mourinho's boys? You gotta. This is my analogy. When a team gets rid of their manager, they are most dangerous
Yeah.
because the players feel a lot more free and they can do whatever they want. And was it a case of Roma just got Verona on the wrong week, or did they show some of Roma's holes and Mourinho's still got some work ahead of him?
I think a little bit of both. Remember as well, the typical Jose Mourinho that we're used to is the fact that he would be playing negative football, as a lot of people would say, defensive, park the bus back, maybe go on a counter or score early and then defend the lead, very old tactics and that type of thing. But since he's been at Roma, he's kind of reinvented himself and they were playing free-flowing football, and that I think they just caught Verona on the off week, to be perfectly honest. I do expect Roma to come back to the winning ways in their next fixtures, to be honest. And I'm happy to leave that one there, Bruno, to move on to our next league.
Yeah, definitely. And that is the Spanish La Liga. And Jonathan, I know you'll be covering the results here, so take it away.
Okay, so Cadiz beat Celta Vigo 2-1. Then Rayo Vallecano 3-0 over Getafe. Atletico Madrid and Athletic Club played a 0-0 draw. And geez, this game had some fireworks in that one as well. Levante and Elche played out a 1-1 draw. Osana and Alvarez. Osana beat Alvarez 2-0. Mallorca and Villarreal played a 0-0 draw. Real Sociedad and Sevilla played a 0-0 draw as well. Real Betis and Espanyol played a 2-2 draw. Real Madrid left it late to beat Valencia 2-1. And the last game of the match was Barcelona and Granada played a 1-1 draw. And geez, that I'll tell you what, Barcelona have got some problems at the moment. The fact that they took so that they didn't dominate that game, mate, they've got some problems there. You're on mute there, Bruno.
They dominated, but they couldn't get that ball in the back of the net, and that's the aim of the game. And when you can't do that, that's the issue. But look, my take from match day 5 of the La Liga was it was quite you would have on the outset. It looks like a slow week. 60% of the games, or 6 out of 10 games, were a draw. With a couple of 0-0 draws in there, So, but there were fireworks in some of those games were probably some of the better ones. If you look at it, the drama in the Barcelona fixture and the Atletico fixture were definitely ones to watch as well. But looking at some of the other results, Rayo Vallecano and Getafe was a great game. It was a 3-0 win. It was a 3-0 win, but there's some talking points, mate. There's some talking points. We'll talk about VAR first. There were a couple of penalties awarded due to VAR. Is VAR overstepping their reach now? Are they just interfering too much?
Again, you can argue both points, to be perfectly honest, because it was one of those ones where both of these instances, I thought, mate, did you really, if they didn't see it, there was no harm done in type thing, but the correct decisions were made at the end of the day. Okay. So at the end of the day, this is the whole reason why VAR were brought into modern day football. But in saying that, you feel like it just, back in the day, you used to go by the referee's decision. You'd get them or you'd miss them occasionally, and you were happy to accept it. Now, you want them to look back and this and that, and they'll go over.
You can't celebrate your goals. I was saying it to Mo yesterday. Imagine VAR was always around. Yeah. History would have been changed. Diego 100%. Maradona would have never have scored the hand of God goal. Now, you don't score goals with your hand, but it's one of the most iconic moments in modern-day football. Correct. And, it was an illegal move, but it was the way he did it. And that's right. I think it takes away some of the celebration in the game. When a penalty is awarded, albeit a correct decision made, you can't argue with it. But these days, you can't even celebrate a goal.
No, you literally can't.
Inter scored their 5th goal, and I didn't know if I should have celebrated or waited to make sure, okay, we've kicked off. Yeah. So, I don't know. But the right decision was made. There was a debutant on the field.
An old familiar face that he made. This guy used to be one of my favorites. Romeo Falcao coming off the bench in the 70th minute and scoring an absolute trademark goal. Mate, I completely forgot about this guy, to be perfectly honest. He was at Galatasaray for a couple of... Yeah, he was at Galatasaray. So he had just come in the off-season, in the transfer market, made his debut. And, mate, I'll tell you what, they've got a formidable side. They've actually performed well the last couple of weeks. So they've gotten themselves back off the bottom half of the table. And, good luck to them. But happy to leave that one there, Bruno.
Yeah, and we'll go to Real Betis, who drew with Espanyol 2-2. Again, we could talk about VAR.
Yeah.
But it's something, was it a straight red? They're 50-50s. And when it comes to 50-50s, it's really hard to say, we've spent 5 minutes looking at it, we're going to give you the red now. If it takes 5 minutes to make a decision, I'm sorry, the decision should stand. There should be a time limit. A minute, 45 seconds, whatever it may be. But if you can't come to a decision, well, you don't change your mind. Simple as that. But
It-
I don't want to get heated up on VAR because it is going to boil my blood. But Arsenal, are they? Was it salt in the wounds to see Hector Bellerin and that amazing assist?
Mate, going down the byline almost to the edge of the box, and he actually fell down before he before he went over the dead ball line, the goal line. Got back up, crossed it back in, and set up that beautiful second goal there. But Jesus, he's still got some pace. I know he's had some injury concerns in the past, but mate, he looked well. He played freely, and if he can get back to his best, then he's definitely going to be an asset. Especially, and you know what, this other than the Premier League, the Spanish league would suit him very well because it's
Especially if he
definitely
wants to
a
get into the national team as well.
100%, and he needs to go being back in Spain, so he'll get noticed again, exactly like you had just mentioned. So, no, good luck to him, and glad to see him back on the pitch.
Yeah, look, we'll move on to your game of the week, your one to
Yeah,
watch from last week. Real Madrid 5, Valencia 1.
I'm
But
sorry, it was 2-1.
yeah, sorry. My eyes, it's late here, so
I know,
we,
that's okay.
we excuse that one there. I won't do it again, I promise. Real Madrid 2, Valencia 1. But my God, this was entertaining.
This game, I'm so glad this was my one to watch from last week because this game was cracker. Now that's a word that I use quite a fair bit actually, to be perfectly honest. But it's mate, this one had it all. Valencia, geez, they've completely turned it around this season in my mind, in my eyes, and credit to them because they've not been performing the last few years. They took that 1-0 lead early, and 85th minute, you were thinking that they're gonna move to the top of the La Liga. Real Madrid, with all their prowess and all their quality and the stars who they've got, mate. Vinny Jr. and Benzema scoring in the 86th and 88th minutes. So well done to them.
Yeah.
But it was just a great game, Bruno.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was one to be entertaining. I'm not going to say much about this, but yeah, after they scored that goal in the 66th minute, you go, at least they're going to get a point out of this. And
Yeah,
a football game's a 90-minute game, and they fell asleep at 85. And that's
they
just
did.
how it is. They were happy with the draw, and they copped 2 quick fire goals. And Benzema, well, he's having the season to remember, and I think we won't be hearing the last of him. So let's move on to the next league. We'll leave that one there. We'll move to the German Bundesliga. This has to be one of the most enthralling weeks we've seen, and you'll know why when we get to it. But we'll go through it. Hertha Berlin defeated Gütersloh 2-1. Bayern Munich, well, they put an absolute clinic against Bochum in a 7-0 thrashing. Augsburg, well, they humiliated Mönchengladbach 1-0. Mainz, Freiburg, and Arminia and Hoffenheim shared the spoils in a 0 draw. FC Holm and RB Leipzig again shared the spoils in a 1-0 draw. Stuttgart, well, they struggled against Leverkusen in a 3-1 defeat. Dortmund, they put on they used their afterburners and they dug deep to run away with a 4-2 win over Union Berlin. And Wolfsburg against Frankfurt 1-1 there. But the talking point, what everyone's going on about this week. Bayern 7, Bochum 0. I said this to you as the game was going on. This Bayern Munich team will not take their foot off the pedal no matter what. They could be up 7-0 and it could have been 8. There was a VAR goal offside to Müller. But look, at the end of the day, this team is probably the greatest team in Europe at the moment, the best team in Europe at the moment, the most complete team in Europe at the moment. And it's hard to not consider them to be Champions League favourites, let alone Bundesliga favourites.
Yeah, for the 10th time it would be as well in a row. So, yeah, it just shows, mate, this is probably one of the most one-sided games I think I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a team be so clinical from start to finish. Like I've seen teams perform for 70 minutes and have it and probably take their foot off the pedal for the last 20. But this was start to end. This was non-stop. They just did not want to give Butchum a even just a slither of hope. It was like I don't think they. I think the stats stated, and quote me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they had one shot on target. To be perfectly honest, and it was
There was
no,
another amazing stat to come out of that game, Jonathan.
yeah,
Lewandowski.
yeah. I know this one, becoming the first to score 13 consecutive Bundesliga home games. So that's unreal. That is unreal. He is probably the greatest striker that we've seen in the modern day era, to be perfectly honest. And I just feel so bad for him that he's been in this Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi era and he hasn't won the Ballon d'Or yet. He should have won it a
And
couple of years ago, and you know,
I think we will probably be repeating ourselves come next match day when they Bayern Munich take on Guffenhöf, who struggled against Hertha Berlin. So we will probably save some of our ammunition for that talk there. Let's move on to who would you'd probably say would probably be the closest competition to Bayern Munich, and that is Borussia Dortmund. They defeated Union Berlin 4-2, and look, I think the story of the match has to go again, and it's you seem to repeat yourself over and
yeah,
over again. But Erling Haaland is just one of those players who you can't stop.
yeah, no, 100% scoring his 15th and 16th goal for club and country this season already, and there it's match day 5 in the Bundesliga. You know what I mean? Like it's just not right. This is, and he's only 21, isn't he? Still at the moment, Bruno. He's
He's
got
quite
he's got a long way to go yet, and he's already performing in these kind of numbers and putting these goals in already. Mate, Borussia Dortmund, they are the only ones in my mind that can continue with Bayern Munich to the later stages of the Bundesliga. So
Yeah, look, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. There's not much to say about Union Berlin. It was a really routine fixture when it came to this for Dortmund, as it was for Bayern Munich. But one of the more interesting results this week, and it was Wolfsburg who drew 1-1 with Frankfurt. Frankfurt haven't had the greatest start, but Wolfsburg have had the perfect start. And
mhm.
it was out for it was Wolfsburg's to lose, but there was a bit of mind games being played in the sense of Frankfurt's manager. Well, it's Wolfsburg's former manager. He built this team. He grew this team. Does it play on the mind of a manager or a team? A manager when you're facing your old team, or a team when you're facing your old manager and he's taught you what there is to know?
It's funny, like when I was watching this match and the that had been stated, I'm thinking, well, you'd almost think that Frankfurt will be able to easily win this because the manager knows this team, this Wolfsburg team inside and out. Like he knows their strengths, he knows their weaknesses, he knows what they needed to improve in. But it was anything but, you know. It was an entertaining for a 1-1 draw. It was an entertaining game. Like it was non-stop. And credit to Wolfsburg still being unbeaten for the season. So hopefully they can keep that going.
Look, it was a fantastic fixture, and like you said, you'd expect it, but he really doesn't have the tools there at Frankfurt to compete in much, to be honest, and it's been quite disappointing for them. But you never know. In the world of football, you never know. So I think that is where we leave the Bundesliga, and we now move on to Ligue 1, the French domestic league. So we will move across to match day 6 of the Ligue 1, where we kicked it off with Strasbourg, who defeated Metz 3-0. Lens, well, they shocked the current champions Lille in a 1-0 victory. Sun at the end, well, they struggled against Bordeaux, who won 2-1. Nice and Monaco, well, it was a goal fest with a 2-all draw there. Agnes struggled against Nantes, who won 4-1. Troyes Montpellier shed the spoils in a 1-all draw. Our favourite here at Football Worldwide, Clermont Foot, they pulled off the draw against Brest. Reims and Lorient, again, also another draw, 0-0 there. Marseille, dominating performance in a 2-0 win over Rennes. And the match of the week, in my opinion, it was one of my ones to watch again. PSG Lyon 2-1 in what was a extremely interesting fixture. So, Jonathan, we'll cover the Marseille fixture. They won 2-0, but it was the way the victory happened. And I just gotta you know put it out there. Marseille have been a formidable force within the French league for a very long time, and after watching their fixture against Rennes, it was one of those games where there was that standout performance, and that goes in the way of Pape Gueye, who is their midfielder. He just controlled play. He was that amazing midfielder who knew where all of his players were and really got them that win. But what do you think of this Marseille team?
I love it. In all seriousness, they're a balanced team. I the one of the main player for me is Payet, and in saying that he's not reached those heights quite yet of where he needs to be in the early part of this season. Like there's 6 match days in already, so it's interesting. I think once he gets on the ball a bit more, starts creating a bit more, and gets himself a few more goals, I actually see Marseille really shooting and putting a lot of pressure behind PSG at the top of the table. Like Bruno, Marseille's only 5 points behind PSG. Now, in saying that, PSG have got Man City in the Champions League, so you're going to be thinking that they're going to want to be performing, and they drew their first match day against Club Bruges in the Champions League. So, in saying that, they're not out of the woods yet. By all means, they need to be performing PSG. So that being the case, I think Marseille can actually catch them up quite well if they're performing the way that they are at the moment. 2-0 over Rennes. It was a entertaining game, clinical. They weren't too Marseille weren't too what's the word I'm looking for? They didn't have too much threats come against them. They was pretty well contained, and credit to them.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just put into that. Marseille actually do have a game in hand, so that 5
That's
points
right.
can really drop down to 2 really quickly. But you did present the argument, but in order for Marseille to catch PSG, it requires PSG to drop points, and they had their strongest opponents thus far in Lyon domestically, and they ended up walking away 2-1 winners in what could have been a highly different game. So they got a 93rd minute goal from no other than the master poacher himself, Mauro Icardi, one of our former friends there in Jonathan's got the trumpets ready for Icardi, but one of the former Interstars who really hasn't made his mark at PSG, but he's pulled them out of the woods a couple of times. But Lyon surprisingly did take the lead, and I think when they did take the lead, it raised a lot of questions that a lot of us had. And it sort of started to answer those questions in the sense of this PSG team really need to start gelling a bit more. The chemistry needs to be a bit better. It was highlighted against Club Bruges, and when Lyon took the lead first, it's like, well, it's going to happen again. Now, Messi, Neymar, mate. Did it remind you of anything?
I'll tell you what, they look like they're starting to get back to their best when they're at Barcelona, in all seriousness. And there are a couple of link up plays, and I thought, this this looks familiar. This is what we're expecting. All they need is Mbappe back there. I think he's still got a couple of weeks out before he's back.
Who?
Mbappe, was he? Did he play? Sorry.
He put the assist in for Icardi's goal.
Well, you know what? I've still got in my head that he was off injured from last week. I forgot that he was there. Sorry, guys, that was pretty bad by me. So in saying that, but yeah, nah. Look, they're just Neymar and Messi. That combination looks like it's coming back to them, and it's almost looking second nature. They know where they are. There was a flick on that Neymar had put back on for Messi, and he shot, and it put pressure on the keeper and so forth. Mate, Lyon's keeper, geez, he was up to the task as well. Messi had a couple of free kick chances, hit the crossbar as well. So it's coming. That first goal for Messi in a PSG shirt is coming. But what about the daggers? What about the daggers in the 70th minute that Messi gave Poch when he got subbed off?
Look, it was bound to happen, but Poch is a smart man. He's thinking of the next game. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you drop points to Lyon out of all the teams in the league, there's excuses. But I think we'll be seeing more to that story coming soon. We've covered the leagues. Let's move on to some of the better, the different segments. I won't say better, but the different segments. Let's, Jonathan. So where are we heading?
So around the grounds for this week, guys, I will just point out there, just remember that make sure you like and subscribe, guys, and give us a thumbs up and tell us how you think of how we're going and all of that, what we can also do to help you guys and what more you need to see from us. But around the grounds, Bruno, as you know, we like to cover the games that we don't always cover in the top 5 leagues. Mine for this week, I couldn't go past the rematch in the League Cup. Please correct me. The correct cup for Manchester United and West Ham. Replay from the weekend. The Carabao Cup. Thank you, Bruno. I appreciate that. So repeat from the weekend. Antonio had a bit of an off game. So let's see him come back. But is Man United going to get that win again? Who knows?
The question is, do Man United field the full strength team? But we will leave that where that is. I am actually leaving the continent of Europe in my around the grounds, and I am heading to Brazil, where we are looking at Corinthians who take on Palmeiras in the domestic cup. It is second against sixth, I believe, but we know what Brazilian football is like, and we know that they are always up to the task. So, with around the grounds done, Jonathan, where are we going to next?
We are going to
One Star Watch, where we pick one match. Well, we try to limit it to one match each, where we say we recommend the one game to watch out within the top 5 leagues. And my one this week is well, I've got two. They're both in
England. Of course you do.
You can't go past the London derby and the Arsenal Tottenham fixture. But at the same time, you can't go past Chelsea and Manchester City. You know, it's the Champions League final rematch. There is so much between Tuchel and Pep that needs to be sorted. So, I don't know. Where are you going, Jonathan, for this one?
I'm bringing it back to Italy, and I'm going to the capital, and a fixture that I'm actually really looking forward to, Roma and Udinese. I want to see Roma get back to their winning ways, but Udinese, other than that loss against Napoli, this last match fixture, they've been performing well. They've probably been doing a lot better than what I had expected to. For us, I think we mentioned at the beginning of the season, we were probably expecting them to be relegated. So they're overachieving at the moment. And, it's going to be my ones to watch for the weekend.
No worries. So we do have some special announcements. The first one is a competition we're running. I'm going to hand it to Jonathan as I pull it up on the screen. Jonathan, what have we got here?
Guys, these beautiful caps that we are normally wearing in each of our videos that Bruno and I love to wear, we're going to give a couple away. We've got a few lying around. We love them. We want you to love them too. We're going to put up a post before the end of this week, before the match days get starting. It's going to be a like and subscribe type thing. I'll put up the details at some point, and we will be drawing that in the next couple of weeks. But I think
So,
that's
one
yes.
more
Go.
announcement, guys. So we've been holding on to this one for some time because we wanted to dot our I's and cross our T's. We are bringing to you a FIFA-esque sort of thing. We're bringing to you our team of the week. So that will be dropping generally Thursday, midweek, weekly. We will be releasing the first episode this week. So keep an eye out for that because it will definitely raise some questions. So we really want to see you there. And like always, it's only the next show to a long list of shows we plan on bringing you guys. I think that's all from me. Jonathan, did you want to send us off?
Guys, we love making these videos for you, but we can only get better by you commenting and you telling us what we need to improve on. We know we're not perfect. We're still new to this to a certain extent as well. So help us help you. What do you want? What do you want to see? Make sure you guys give us a like and subscribe. Comment. We'll always comment back. We want to get engaging with you guys and get you all involved. So that's all I think we've got time for this week's edition, Bruno.
That's it. So, as always, guys, it's always a pleasure. We do this for you. It's simple as that. We do this for you. So, Jonathan, it's always a pleasure having you by my side. From all of us
Always.
here at Football Worldwide, thank you.
Ciao.